Happy Monday, everybody. I hope you all had a great weekend. Welcome to the Book of 50ish. Today on the menu, we will have red beans and rice Monday. I am working remote today, so I will be preparing this in the crock pot. So I will come back down and prepare this on my lunch break, but I just want to show you the meats that I will include in this recipe. These are my preference, so I prefer to use Camilla red beans. However, you may find a red kidney bean that you prefer of a different brand, but the brand of my choice will be Camilla. Also, I will be using a smoked turkey wing for this meal, as well as my favorite smoked sausage, which is the Manda brand. Now, I did have some hot leftover from a gumbo I did for Easter, so I took it out the freezer, and we're going to use the rest of it in our red beans. And again, I am preparing this crock pot because I am working from home today, and it's easier to do it that way. So on my lunch break, I will be back to start prepping this, so see you soon. Now, what you see here is I've washed off about a half a pound, maybe a little bit over half a pound of red beans. And I also washed my smoked turkey wing, and I have that in the pot. That's all you're gonna need in the crock pot. This is maybe a medium size, maybe one of your smaller crock pots. This isn't a whole crock pot. I'll be right back. I'll tell you how many quarts it is. All right, so it doesn't tell me how many quarts. I thought maybe it was written on a crock pot somewhere and I threw the box away. But it's one of your smaller crock pots. It's not a mini. I can feed probably up to maybe 4 to 6 people out of this crock pot, maybe even 8, just depends on what you're preparing in it. And so as you can see, I've added my beans and my turkey wing. Now I'm gonna add water. Now, a rule of thumb was that first line on your thumb, I think that's maybe about 1 inch. You only want to cover the beans with up to 1 inch over water over the beans, excuse me. So you don't want to go past that. You can always add water, but you're going to create a lot of steam and condensation, and that's going to be extra water. It's better to have less water when you're cooking red beans in a crock pot instead of more. Okay, so you don't want them to be too soupy. Everyone has their preference on a type of consistency that we like. So I'm going to add the water, and I'll be right back and show you just about how much water that you'll need for your beans. All right, so as you can see, I've added my water. It's only about 1 inch above the tallest bean in a pot. As you can see, it does not even cover that turkey wing. So we don't want to add a lot of water in the beginning. And for the size of this pot, I'm going to cut this on high, and I'm going to be back to check in about 3 to 4 hours to see what we're looking like before we start adding our other vegetables. All right, 4 hours later, I'm ready to put my next ingredients. I did something very crazy. I forgot to cut the crock pot on. I went to answer an email, and so we're getting off a little late, but 4 hours later, here we are. Your turkey should be able to be pulled off the bone tender as this one is. So I'm going to actually debone this turkey and take it out the pot. Now, I don't shred my turkey. I don't like shreds in my food as much. When it continues to cook, it is going to shred a little bit, but I like to leave it in chunks. And if you mash one of those beans, you see how the beans are done. So now we're ready to add our vegetables, and I will be right back. I'm gonna add some chopped onion, some chopped celery. I have some chopped green bell pepper, and I have some chopped garlic, some fresh chopped garlic. And I have my smoked sausage. I've chopped it in medallions, and I have a couple of larger pieces because I'm not going to cook any other protein to go with this. Usually when we have our beans, it's pretty good just the way it is with the smoked sausage and the rice that I'm going to make to go for the beans to go on top of. So we're going to add our smoked sausage. Very important. This is how I do my beans in the crock pot. The reason why we want to make sure that the beans are fully cooked where you can mash them, that lets you know that they're done before you add your vegetables and your sausage, because this is the home stretch when it comes to cooking beans in a crock pot. So I want to stir all of this together at one time, and when you stir those beans that are done, it's going to create a little bit of cream. We call that cream in the beans. So if they're done, you will have a little bit of a cream. And just the way it is right now, you don't need to quite add water just yet. I'm going to see if I can pull some beans up here. I know it looks like mostly protein and no beans, but believe me, it's already starting to make a good bit of a gravy right here. So when I put this cover back on for about an hour, it's actually going to create some more water in the beans. So the thing is when you get it at this consistency, you do not want to add more water. You may be tempted to do so, but do not add more water. We want to cover this and cook it and see how much gravy we have. These beans are done, they're perfect. So if we need to add water to make more gravy for the beans, we can do that. But again, we don't want to add water till we see how much water it's already going to produce. Okay? So we're going to cover those beans and let them cook for about an hour, and we'll come back in about 30 minutes to see what it's looking like. And again, we want to keep our temperature on high. All right, so I did come back before I covered it and let it cook. I'm going to add some additional seasonings right now. So I'm going to add a little garlic powder here. I'm going to add a little onion powder. Now I'm not measuring. And I'm going to add some Creole seasoning. I'm not going to add salt. This Creole seasoning has some salt in it. I'm just going to add a little because the smoked sausage has a lot of sodium in it. So you can always add additional if you want extra in it. But I think that's all I'm going to add to it right now. And again, you can add your own seasonings of choice that you prefer. But that's what I'm going to do now. Then I'm going to cover it and let it continue to cook. All right, so this is what our beans look like at about 40 minutes later. And look at the cream. I like the beans right at that cream. So I'm going to get my spoon. Now, keep it. This is no water added. This is how much liquid it produced. Okay. So what I'm going to do is a little thick, and I want a little more juice. I'm only going to add a half a cup of water at a time, because as I let this continue to steam, even if I do this, it's still going to be have a good gravy to it, so it won't be too runny. Believe me, you want to add your water sparingly. I'm going to add a little more, so that was about a half a cup of water. And when I cover this, it's going to produce more water, so we want to be really careful about how much water that we add to this. And I'm going to cover this, and we'll be back. All right, so this is how we're looking. It's been about an hour, about a few minutes shy of an hour, so we are ready to serve. All right, so this is how we're looking after about an hour, and I think we're just about ready to start serving. Dinner is served. Bon appetit. You can pair this with some cornbread, some regular white bread, sliced bread, which we're gonna do. And just let me know if you want to see other recipes